Hey, what's up everybody, this is Broku, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be addressing the question that so many people have asked, and I've seen so many debates on Twitter lately, and that is, could Asta handle One for All? So another sort of Black Clover crossover with My Hero Academia, which is two of my favorite series of all time. Now, no matter what I say here, I am not dragging on Deku, I'm just talking about Asta. Could he handle One for All? We're going over through the manga, different panels, quotes, statements about One for All, and even talk about some of the stuff in the newest movie. So I will give a spoiler warning before that talk. You can just skip ahead though, I'll tell you when to skip ahead when you get to that point, so you can just skip the movie if you don't want to be spoiled at all. And then talk about Black Clover and just kind of compare the two. So if you guys end up enjoying this video or agree with me, please leave a like and then comment your thoughts down below. Do you think Asta could handle One for All? So, One for All. This is a quirk that has been passed down through multiple generations. It started off as the quirk of All for One's younger brother. He had a quirk that let him pass down that quirk, and then All for One gave him a quirk which stored power. The quirk that his brother had merged together with the quirk that stored power to create One for All. With each passing of the torch, it makes the quirk even stronger. Deku is the 8th user of One for All, but making All Might the 7th, and it actually has other quirks established within inside of itself that were from the previous users of the quirk. So now this basically augments the person's power or quirk if they have them, and then like Deku is able to do now, he can use these other quirks to his advantage. Now, people are saying, well, why couldn't All Might use these other quirks versus Deku? One of the theories so far is that All Might could use 100% of One for All and was pretty proficient with it from the very beginning of getting the quirk, whereas Deku has had to take a lot of time to really get close and master the quirk, and that's probably why he was able to reach into these other quirks that All Might never really had to do. So that's just the common fan theory. We don't know for sure yet, but I'm going to go through the different quotes talking about why it was such a struggle for Deku to use this quirk in the beginning. Compare that to Asta, and then even bring in All Might's own use of the quirk, and even stuff from the movie. And then talk about, could Asta really use the quirk? What we do know is that the whole entire reason that All Might had Deku do the 10-month training is because his body was not going to be able to take the quirk. It was not going to be able to handle the use of One for All. That is the first point of evidence that you need to be physically capable enough to actually use the quirk whatsoever. Now, we'll use this for later, but we'll have to compare Deku to Asta to see the physical differences, but let's go over the multiple different statements. Basically, Deku asks why he's just moving this garbage as part of his workouts. All Might says, because you're an ill-suited vessel. Deku's like, what do you mean? You said I was worthy. Then All Might corrects himself saying, your body, it ain't ready. My quirk, All for One, binds the physical strength of many people into one. Just realized that they erred that it's supposed to be One for All, not All for One. Come on, Viz. And then, your limp noodle body isn't ready for it. Your limbs would pop right off. And Deku's like, oh, I'm here to train my body. Let's go into a different quote. So Deku does the 10 months of training. He gets more proficient with physical strength and just overall fitness capabilities. Shortly after the self, Deku's like, I don't really feel myself transforming. And then this is what All Might says. You may be a proper vessel now, but you were put together in a hurry. You've had no time to get used to your power. Prepare for some real kickback. So, we have the physical strength being a requirement. You have All Might saying that he was put together, but too quickly, in a hurry, and he said there's going to be some drawback, and he said that if he didn't have the physical strength, he would pretty much blow up. That's what we have from All Might talking about the quirk One for All. So, you have all this evidence that's pointing towards that you need to be physically strong enough to use the quirk. And now, yes, All Might got Deku to the point where he could use One for All without killing himself. But he was put together in a hurry. How long did Asta train for? Was Asta put together in a hurry? No. He started training from when he was 5 years old till, now. So 10 years of training before the series of Black Clover even started. And as like a 7-year-old, he was running through Yuno's mini tornadoes. So Asta was not put together in a hurry comparatively to Deku. So that's one point of evidence that, if Asta got One For All, he would be able to use it pretty proficiently. And people will then just say, oh, well, no, Deku, this just means for him to eat the hair and have the quirk inside himself, not use it. But that wouldn't make sense. I mean, the quirk doesn't do anything unless if you're using it. And then, also, if you just look at the context, All Might says, it binds the physical strength of many people into one. Your limp noodle body isn't ready for it. Your limbs would pop right off. And it shows, like, the image of a potential Deku exploding. This is exactly what happens for Deku when he's using the quirk. And then, remember the other quote about All Might talking about the drawbacks? So, this is what would happen to Deku if he used the quirk without training. This is what happens when he uses it with training. Instead of completely blowing himself up and killing himself, he just breaks his arm. So, with that being said, that just further proves, and you add in the thing that, oh, Deku was built in a hurry. He did 10 months of training. Not even that crazy of training compared to, even real life stuff, let alone anime stuff, what Asta was doing. Asta can do 1,000 standing push-ups or headstand push-ups on one arm without difficulty. And that was in the very beginning of the series. So he is way above Deku's physical capabilities. He can run as fast as high-speed mages. Asta is not put together quickly. So if you add in that, yeah, Asta would be able to handle One For All pretty easily. And let's talk about even more evidence. All Might could use One For All from the beginning without difficulty. It's stated by Gran Torino that, yeah, All Might was quirkless, but he had a great body. That's why he could use One For All. If you even look at the flashbacks where All Might was fighting Gran Torino, All Might looked pretty beefy. He was probably kind of like Mirio, when Mirio was quirkless, where Mirio was a pretty beefy guy. His quirk really isn't that great. It's what he did with it and with himself. That's what All Might probably did. And while yes, technically, All Might's version of One For All that he got would be weaker than Deku's, he still was able to recognize the many different aspects of what could happen to Deku and accurately predicted what would happen. He said Deku would have drawbacks, and that happened. He said Deku would blow up, that happened. So he knows enough about the quirk to predict things. All Might is, proficient with using One For All from the beginning because of his body. Deku was able to survive One For All in the beginning because of his body. And Asta would scale way above either of them likely. And so why would One For All not work with him? Remember, Deku, even after getting the quirk, was still reforging his body during his training process to use higher percentages. He was lifting weights, he was training, he was doing other things. So, and also just using the quirk on his body would adapt his bones, his muscle, his ligaments, his tendons to using it even more. And so he's, further training. I'm going to have to talk about one more thing, and that is the movie. So I'm going to leave a timestamp where you can skip ahead and not get spoiled if you don't want to get spoiled. But I'm going to talk about something that happens in the movie. In the movie, Bakugo and Deku are fighting Nine, the villain, and they're getting defeated. They're both completely curb stomped. Deku passes down One For All to Bakugo. And this is a completely wounded and drained Bakugo, and he gets One For All. Then the flame inside Deku, the embers, light, and then he gets his powers again. And now, Bakugo has no training with One For All. He has none. And yet he basically is running around at full speed. He's doing attacks, and he's pretty much fine using it. And then the only time he really hurts himself is when it's a double ultimate, smash to defeat Nine. And yeah, Bakugo breaks his arm, but remember, he was already wounded and stamina drained before he got One For All. And it also hurt Deku's arm, but it just didn't break it, probably because he's just a bit more used to it, and maybe physically stronger when he uses the quirk. So, Bakugo, who is nothing compared to Asta's physical abilities, used a stronger version of One For All, because remember, with each time you pass it down, it gets stronger. So, Bakugo was using a stronger version than what Deku used, and yet wasn't completely fucked up. He just broke his arm when he went probably beyond 100%. I would be surprised if that smash at the very end that defeated Nine was beyond 100%, because, Bakugo was running around, jumping around, using other attacks with, One For All, and he wasn't really that injured. And he was using a stronger version than what Deku had. So, if Asta scales above that Bakugo, and Bakugo used a stronger version of One For All, why wouldn't Asta be able to use it? So, there's just now so much more evidence. Okay, now I'm done with talking about the movie, so people who skipped ahead didn't get spoiled, but now I'm going to talk about some of Asta's feats to show that, he's way above, guys, he's way above 100% Deku, let alone human, just base, quirkless human Deku. Remember Deku, I think he was just above average speed for his age, and then he could, some of his cool strength feats was he could run through the sand with a 550-pound man on his back, which would be pretty impressive. Still nothing compared to Asta, but Asta, he can casually, with one hand, lift the Black Divider Demon Slayer sword. The Demon Slayer sword is much heavier than the Demon Dweller, and with Black Divider on top of that would be even crazier. Whereas Julius, the Wizard King, who has superhuman strength, can barely hold the Demon Dweller with both hands. Barely. And then you have Asta in his base form, and the Witch's 4-star, so a much weaker version of Asta than now. Surviving attack from Spirit Ladros. Spirit Ladros, who is stated to surpass the Fire Spirit who in the guidebook is stated to be able to vaporize a sea, and that has been calculated to be a country level feat, which is above anything that Deku's done. So you have that base Asta survived that, and that was base Asta from the Witch's 4-star. Current base Asta is way beyond that level of Asta. And then let's go through the... Then you have Asta, who, in his base form, speed blitzes Raya, who is captain level at the time, and then he punches Raya and damages him with just a pure physical punch. He punches Voltos and damages him with a pure physical punch. And, of course, just his base speed, he outruns Mereoleona's attacks. He is a physical beast without even using the swords or the anti-magic. And then you have the current thing of the post-time skip where he flies through the Grand Magic region, the Strong Magic region, to go save the people that are being imprisoned by the Spade Army. And, guys, these Spade soldiers need this fortress to get through the Strong Magic region. They need it. It would damage them if they had to walk through it, or run through it, or fly through it. And Fin Rolling Mimosa needed to be in Noel's protection spell. Base Asta just flies through it like it's nothing. That would be damaging Spade soldiers, who are, way beyond anything, or, probably most things in My Academia. And so, if you really think that Asta couldn't wield One for All, then it's basically just showing physical strength, physical strength, physical strength, physical strength. He's way beyond 100% Deku, let alone a quirkless Deku. And then let's talk about Ki, because people are saying that, if he couldn't, he would take him forever to be able to adapt to it. No, Asta is he's better at getting, better at things than Deku is. Asta learned Ki on his first lesson. Asta was able to use Ki to learn Black Asta. Asta used his Ki and his training with anti-magic to use Black Divider. And then over 6 months, he added Black Slash, added the ability to call in more swords. He could use Black Divider in base form. When I said call in more swords, he could say the name and they could fly to him. So Asta is more proficient with anti-magic than Deku is with his quirk. So Asta, if he got One for All, he could use his Ki to use One for All way better. This is what he did with the Black form. He could sense the anti-magic energy, which One for All, that is an energy flowing through Deku. Asta could use the Ki, circulate that through him, let him easier control it and not hurt himself. That's what he could use with Ki. And guys, anti-magic is somewhat similar to One for All in the sense that this energy can damage Asta like One for All energy damages Deku. Asta is drained when he's done using the Black form when he first uses it, but he gets better and better at using it. So, yeah, even if Asta struggled at first with the One for All, he would adapt to it way quicker than Deku did because of Ki. So, yes, guys, Asta would fairly easily use One for All from the beginning. So, I'm going to go over some of the points of evidence again. You have All Might just bringing in all this facts, all these statements that, physical strength is needed to use One for All. And then says, but we put you together in a hurry, so you're going to have some drawback, which is exactly what happened, because he was put together in a hurry. He wasn't fully trained to use it. Asta has been training for 12 years, from the age of 5 to 17. He's a physical beast, way above anything in My Academia. And then you have All Might, who, because of his body, despite being quirkless, because of his body, as stated by Gran Torino, he could use the quirk of One for All from the beginning. Yes, it's weaker than Deku's. Guys, yes, Asta would be able to use One for All. He just would. His physical body is way better than Deku's. He'd use it just fine. And if he had any struggles with it, Ki would help him get through it way quicker than Deku did. And so that's the video. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm actually going to be doing more videos based on My Academia in the near future. I'm just read the newest chapter. I'm going to go through a reread soon. And then I'm going to do more videos because I'm probably going to do scaling on My Academia and some theories because I am really loving the current war arc in My Academia. But let me know your thoughts down below. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hope you guys all have an amazing day. Plus...